Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, no matter what time zone you're in. Welcome back to Sip and Talk. I'm Sunny.
I'm ready to get into something today that I think is going to touch a very raw, very exposed nerve for a lot of people. It's one of those topics that seems, incredibly small on the surface.
Yeah.
Just a little technical annoyance, right?
Yeah, just a text message.
But when you actually peel it back, you realize it's about deep-seated insecurity, how we value each other as human beings, and frankly, why half of us are walking around feeling rejected by our own friends.
It's the modern condition, really. We carry these devices that promise connection, but a lot of the time they just deliver anxiety.
Exactly. And I want to start with a scenario. I want to talk about Mickey.
Okay.
Now, Mickey isn't just one person. Mickey is sort of a representative figure for a massive chunk of our listeners, and if I'm being honest, for me too.
Right. Mickey is all of us at some point.
Mickey is in their 30s, maybe early 40s. Let's call Mickey a digital settler. Someone who remembers a time when phones were actually used for, calling people.
The dark ages.
Right. So Mickey has a friend, or maybe a younger cousin, or a colleague, who is under 25, a true digital native.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey sends this friend a message. And it's a nice message. It's not a demand.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a funny meme. Maybe, hey, thinking of you, how are things? Just a little ping of affection.
A bid for connection. That's what it is.
A bid for connection. And Mickey sees that the friend is online. The little green dot is glowing.
Oh, that's the worst.
Maybe, and this is the absolute worst part, maybe the read receipt even pops up, the tiny check marks turn blue.
Yep, the two blue ticks.
And then silence. Nothing. For 10 minutes,
Yeah.
then an hour, then 6 hours, maybe a full day.
And Mickey is just staring at the screen.
Mickey is staring at the screen and immediately begins the emotional spiral. The internal monologue goes from, oh, they're busy, to, did I say something wrong, to, are they mad at me? And finally, it lands on, I guess I just don't matter to them.
Yeah.
It feels like walking up to someone at a party, saying hello, and having them look you in the eye and just walk away without a word. It feels like a door slamming in your face.
It's a visceral reaction. But today, our mission is to decode this. We need to stop taking this personally.
Please. We're
going to look at this read a new reply phenomenon, not as a personal slight, but as a clash of civilizations. We need to talk about what we're calling the TCP-UDP divide.
I love that we're getting technical today, because usually I'm just crying over my unread text. But before we get into the structural mechanics of why this is happening, we need to set the stage properly.
Right.
We are observing two very different operating systems here. And I think we need a disclaimer, right?
Absolutely. We have to be very, very clear here. This deep dive is an objective observation of generational behaviors and communication protocols. We are not here to discriminate.
Yeah.
We are not here to criticize the younger generation for being rude or lazy, nor are we here to call the older generation needy or out of touch.
Right, because it's so easy to fall into that. Kids these days have no manners. Or on the flip side, old people need to get a life. We're avoiding all of that.
Exactly. We are endorsing one side over the other. The goal here is independent thinking and hopefully mutual understanding. We want to stop the internal bleeding that happens when these two styles collide.
I like that.
It's about translation, not judgment.
No villains, just different software. I like that. So let's define the core conflict before we get into the tech metaphors. Because for the 30-plus crowd, for the Mickeys of the world, texting represents something very specific.
Right.
We view a text as a conversation invitation.
It's a formal entry point. That's a good way to put it.
If I text you, it is the digital equivalent of me knocking on your door or tapping you on the shoulder. It requires an acknowledgement. If you see me and don't acknowledge me, that is relationship damage. Silence, in my world, equals rejection. It equals I am ignoring you.
And that is the fundamental error in translation, because for the under 25 crowd, the digital natives, texting is something else entirely.
Okay.
For that demographic, texting is fluid background noise.
It's a stream.
Silence doesn't mean I hate you or I am rejecting your bid. Silence just means I am not entering the chat right now. It's a completely different state of being.
It's still hard to wrap my head around that, though, because it feels so intentional. But let's dig deeper into the psychology of this. Why does it hurt the older generation so much? What is the mechanism there?
It hurts because of what we call the investment model.
The investment model.
You have to remember, digital immigrants or settlers, people who grew up paying 10 cents per text message or having to dial up to check email, We come from a world where communication had a transaction cost.
Oh, absolutely. I remember having to count characters to make sure I didn't get charged for a second text. Every single message was a conscious decision.
Exactly. Because it cost money and effort, you developed a completionist mindset. The cycle is receive message, reply to message, social politeness complete.
It's a task.
It's a task. It's a loop that must be closed. When you send a message, you are investing time, money, and attention. When that investment isn't returned, you feel what we call social devaluation.
Social devaluation. Wow. That hits hard. Feels like my stock price just dropped in your eyes. Like if I were more important or cooler or richer, you would have replied.
That's the automatic translation the 30-plus brain makes. Read but no reply is translated as disrespect, apathy, or looking down on someone. You think, if I mattered, you would close the loop.
But you're saying the younger generation doesn't even see a loop.
They don't see a loop. They operate on the space model.
Okay.
For a digital native, no reply does not equal rude. It simply means I am not entering a dialogue at this specific second. In fact, for them, the unread status, or the read but silent status, it creates psychological safety.
Okay, hold on. You have to explain that to me. How is ignoring someone safe? That sounds like a cop-out. It just sounds like they're avoiding responsibility.
Well, it's not about avoiding responsibility. It's about managing pressure. Think about it from their side. If they reply to you right now, immediately, what have they just done?
They've been polite.
They've established a precedent that they are available. They have signaled that the door is open. For younger users, maintaining that distance, it lowers the stakes. And here is the paradox, and this is where Mickey gets into so much trouble.
Right.
The more the 30-plus person chases, the more they demand a reply to feel better.
Hello. Are you there? Did you see this?
Exactly. The more you do that, the more the 25-year-old retreats. Because now you aren't just a friend. You are a demand. You are a task. You are seeking reassurance, but they interpret it as a demand for their time.
So I want intimacy. They want autonomy.
That's it. Your attempt to get closer actually pushes them away because it feels like you're hunting them down.
Yeah, that makes sense in a really painful way.
Yeah.
But let's get to the part that really blew my mind when we were prepping this. You brought up this concept of TCP versus UDP. And honestly, this technical metaphor is the only thing that has helped me calm down about this. Can you break this down? Because I think this is the key to stopping the anxiety.
It really is the structural root of the misunderstanding. So let's look at computer network protocols. This isn't just an analogy. This is literally how the internet works.
Okay.
There are two main ways computers talk to each other, TCP and UDP.
Okay, let's unpack TCP first, because I have a feeling that's me.
TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol. This is the 30-plus method. It's the bedrock of the reliable internet.
Okay.
TCP requires a handshake. When computer A sends data to computer B, it doesn't just throw it out there. It sends it, and then it waits. It waits for an acknowledgement, technically called an ACK.
An ACK, I like that.
Yes. It needs the ACK to confirm that the data arrived intact. If that ACK doesn't come within a specific time frame, computer A assumes the connection is broken or failed, and it tries to resend.
It gets anxious?
It gets anxious, essentially. It assumes an error has occurred.
That is exactly how I feel. I sent the data. I sent the meme. Where is my ACK? I need my ACK to know we are okay.
That represents synchronous intimacy. You need that confirmation to feel the connection is alive and well. Now compare that to UDP, or User Datagram Protocol. This is the 25 and under method.
What does that look like?
UDP is fire and forget. It's used for things like streaming video, voice calls, or online gaming. When you are watching a live stream, the server is blasting data at you continuously. It does not halt operations waiting for you to send a receipt for every single pixel.
Right, because if it stopped to wait for a receipt for every pixel, the video would just buffer forever.
Exactly. Speed and fluidity are more important than perfect reliability. If a few packets of data get lost, whatever. The stream continues.
So it doesn't matter.
If you miss a joke or a comment, the relationship doesn't end. The stream just keeps going.
So they are living in a UDP world. They're just broadcasting.
Precisely. They are practicing asynchronous living. You are trying to establish a TCP handshake, demanding an acknowledgement for every packet, every text, every meanwhile they are broadcasting in UDP, assuming you're just part of the general stream.
Wow.
You aren't losing a friend. You are realizing you are playing TCP on a UDP network.
That is actually profoundly comforting. But I have to push back a little bit because it sounds like we're just giving them a pass to be lazy. Like, oh, I'm just a UDP kind of person, so I don't have to be polite. Isn't there a base level of manners that we're ignoring here?
It's not about laziness, I don't think. It's about survival in a different environment. We have to look at the concept of information density.
Okay.
Think about Mickey's phone versus the Gen Z friend's phone. What does Mickey's notification center look like?
Well, Mickey probably has WhatsApp, maybe Facebook Messenger for the older relatives, and email. Maybe a news alert.
Right. Manageable. Now look at the 25-year-old. They're simultaneously on Discord, often in multiple servers with thousands of messages rolling in.
Oh, yeah.
They have Line, Instagram DMs, Snapchat, WhatsApp, TikTok messages, and in-game chats. They are being bombarded.
It's a wall of noise.
It is a fire hose. So the cost of replying is very different. For a young person, a reply isn't just typing words. It is the mental labor of opening a door.
Opening a door.
There is a genuine fear. If I reply to this text now, do I have to keep chatting for the next 10 minutes? Do I have the bandwidth for a full conversation?
So they view an immediate reply as like heavy emotional labor. Like if I say lol to this meme, he's going to ask me how my day was, and then I'm trapped.
Yes, it's heavy. So their strategy is to wait. They wait until they have the bandwidth to engage properly, which might be days later. In their minds, they're actually being responsible by waiting until they can give you their full attention.
But you, waiting on the other end, just think they're ignoring you.
Exactly.
That connects to something else we found in the research, which really surprised me. We look at how Japanese communication styles are influencing global digital culture.
Yeah.
We usually think of Western internet culture as being very loud and direct, but there's this undercurrent of, well, silence.
This is fascinating. In Japan, there is a concept called kokusuru, which refers to the nuance of ignoring or ghosting.
Right.
But in that cultural context, it's not rooted in malice. It's rooted in conflict avoidance and reading the air.
Reading the air. I've heard that. It's about like sensing the vibe without things being explicitly said.
Exactly. In many modern contexts, which are influenced by this high context culture, not replying is actually a form of politeness.
How is that politeness?
The logic goes something like this. I cannot give a perfect good response right now. If I give a half-hearted response, that's rude. If I reject the invitation, that's awkward and causes loss of face.
So to avoid all that.
So to avoid conflict or awkwardness, I will simply not reply.
So the silence is the message. The silence says, I would rather not say no, so I will say nothing.
Yes. It's the unread phenomenon. The 30-plus person sees coldness. The 25-year-old sees preserving harmony. They are avoiding a situation where they might disappoint you with a bad reply, so they give you no reply at all.
It's so counterintuitive for me. I would rather have a can't talk now or even a not interested than silence. Silence feels like I'm being erased.
I know.
But I get what you're saying. They see messages differently. They see them as, what was that term you used?
A wall of graffiti.
Right, graffiti.
Think about walking past a wall of graffiti. You see it, you acknowledge it, you might even appreciate it. But you don't feel a compulsion to write back on the wall next to every single tag. It's ambient. It's background fog.
Whereas
you, the settler, you see a message as certified mail.
Yes. I am standing there with the clipboard waiting for a signature. Please sign here to acknowledge receipt of my love.
And demanding a signature from someone who treats communication like graffiti is always, always going to lead to frustration. You are asking for contractual interaction in a fluid space.
So what does this all mean for Mickey? Because understanding the why, the TCP versus UDP, the Japanese conflict avoidance, that's great intellectually, but Mickey is still hurting. Mickey still feels lonely.
Right.
We need practical strategies. How do we stop the emotional bleeding?
We need to introduce the concept of emotional self-discipline. And since you liked the tech metaphor, let's try a financial one. Let's talk about the stop-loss order.
Oh, I love a good stop-loss.
Right.
For those who don't trade stocks, explain it.
In stock trading, a stop-loss is a tool you set up in advance. You buy a stock at $100. You say, if this drops to $90, I sell automatically.
No questions asked.
You don't wait. You don't hope it goes back up. You don't get emotional. You just get out to save your capital.
You limit your exposure to pain.
Exactly. You need a stop loss in relationships, and you need to shift the question from why didn't they reply to am I being treated well in this interaction?
That's a powerful shift. It's not about their reasons anymore. It's about my experience.
Right. It doesn't matter if they are UDP or Japanese conflict avoiders or just busy. If the interaction is causing you a deficit of self-worth, you execute the stop loss.
You stop investing.
You stop investing emotional energy waiting for a return that isn't coming. But to do that fairly, we need to define what is reasonable time.
Okay.
Because you can't just be an impatient diva and cut everyone off who doesn't reply in 5 minutes.
We need a standard, a rubric.
So we developed a 3-tier system to judge if a delay is acceptable or actually rude.
Oh.
This helps you know when to trigger that stop loss.
Lay it on us. What is Tier 1?
Tier 1 is low importance. This is your memes, your chit-chat, random observations. Look at this cat, or it's raining, or a TikTok link.
Okay. What's the reasonable wait time for a cat meme?
24 to 48 hours.
Whoa. 48 hours, 2 full days to type lol? That feels insane to me.
I know it feels insane to a TCP brain, but for a UDP generation, a meme does not require an ACK. The verdict here is acceptable. No reply here is not a rejection. They saw the cat. They laughed internally. They moved on. Do not take offense. If you get mad about this, you are the one creating the friction.
Okay. I'm going to struggle with that, but I can try to let the cat meme go.
Yeah.
What about Tier 2?
Tier 2 is logistics or specific questions. Do you want to get dinner this weekend? Or what time are we meeting? Or did you leave your jacket at my house?
Now, this feels like it needs a TCP handshake. You can't just internally laugh at a dinner invitation.
Correct. This requires an ACK. The reasonable wait here is 6 to 24 hours.
And if it goes over that,
it's a verdict.
If it goes over 24 hours without an explanation, you are objectively low priority. It's not necessarily an insult. People get busy, but it is data. It tells you where you stand in their queue.
Right.
If they can't confirm dinner plans in 24 hours, they aren't prioritizing the event.
That stings, but it's good to know. It's clarity. And Tier 3.
Tier 3 is emotional or crisis.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really down, or I had a terrible day and need to talk, or I have an emergency.
If I send that, I need a lifeline. I'm sending a flare. The reasonable wait here is 3 to 12 hours, maximum. If there is a long-term absence here, if you pour your heart out and get silence for 2 days, that is emotional asymmetry.
Wow.
That is where the relationship is structurally unsound.
That's when you execute the stop loss.
Precisely. If they cannot switch from UDP to TCP when you are in crisis, they are not a close friend. They might be a fun acquaintance, but they are not part of your support structure.
Okay.
But there is one more indicator of a healthy relationship. Even with these delays, it's what we call the return habit.
The return habit.
Yes. It's not about speed. It's about whether they eventually come back and acknowledge the gap. Do they say 3 days later, oh my God, I am so sorry, work was crazy, but regarding that dinner?
Right.
A healthy UDP communicator will eventually loop back. If they never acknowledge the silence, if they just pretend it didn't happen, that's a different issue entirely.
So Mickey can use this 3-tier system to kind of audit the friendship. Mm-hmm. If it's mostly Tier 1 silence, Mickey needs to chill. If it's Tier 3 silence, Mickey needs to leave.
Correct. It removes the guesswork. It removes the emotion and just gives you data.
Now let's talk about changing our approach. If we want to bridge this divide, what should we be doing differently? Because I know I'm guilty of sending the double text. I know I'm guilty of the passive-aggressive, I guess you're busy message.
And that is the death knell. We have some hard don'ts here. Number 1, never send "Are you there?" And number 2, never send the long emotional paragraph explaining why you are sad they didn't reply to a meme.
But I want them to know how I feel.
I know you do.
Yeah.
But those messages trigger the pressure alarm in Gen Z. It confirms their worst fear, that replying to you is heavy labor.
I see.
It pushes them further into the space model. They see that wall of text and think, I do not have the energy for this drama, and they retreat further.
So what do I do instead? How do I get a response without being the heavy friend?
You change the protocol. Send specific singular questions, low barrier to entry. Instead of, we never talk anymore, I miss you, try, I have a quick question about X, reply when you have time.
Reply when you have time. That phrase, it feels like giving up power, but I guess it actually gives them an out.
It lowers the pressure. It signals that you respect their UDP protocol. You aren't demanding a handshake. You're just putting data in the stream. And usually, ironically, they reply faster because the pressure is off.
This touches on a broader philosophy you brought up earlier, the settler versus the nomad mindset. I feel like this explains so much of modern dating, too, not just friendship.
It really does. The 30-plus crowd, we are settlers. We value ownership and defined status.
Yeah.
We are friends, so we must act like X.
We're a couple, so...
We are dating, so we must text Y times a day. We want to own the plot of land. We want a deed to the property.
And the 25 and under crowd?
They are nomads. They value subscription and fluidity. We are cool right now, but I don't owe you a fixed schedule. They prefer what is often called situationships.
Situationships, yeah.
In Chinese internet slang, there is a term for this. Qingjing Shi Guan Di.
Qingjing Shi Guan Ai. What does that translate to?
Roughly, situational relationship. It means connection without the heavy label. We are connected in this moment, in this context, but it doesn't imply a lifetime contract.
That sounds exhausting to me. Connection without safety. It sounds like anxiety on tap.
To you, the lack of safety is exhausting. To them, the label is the exhaustion, the fluidity is the freedom.
Wow.
And this bleeds into how they handle their digital borders. We call this the digital firewall.
Tell me about the firewall. How do I build one? Because I feel like I have no defenses.
It's about self-protection through protocol segmentation. You simply do not use high-fidelity emotional protocols on low-fidelity connections.
Okay, explain that in plain English.
If you are dealing with a nomad, don't build a settler house on their land. Match their energy. If they reply in 2 days, do not reply in 5 minutes.
Now wait, I have to stop you there. Is that petty? Is that playing games? Oh, you took 2 days, so I'll wait 2 days just to teach you a lesson. That feels like teenage drama.
I'm glad you asked that because this is a crucial distinction. It isn't revenge. It is syncing protocols.
Syncing protocols.
If you reply in 5 minutes to their 2-day delay, you look desperate. And more importantly, you overwhelm them with an intensity they cannot match. You are flooding their UDP stream with TCP demands.
That's an energy mismatch.
Exactly. By waiting, you aren't punishing them. You are saying, I am also busy. I also have a life. We are peers. You are de-escalating the intensity to a level where they feel comfortable engaging.
It avoids the over-functioning dynamic where one person is doing all the emotional heavy lifting.
Exactly. And finally, there is the ultimate litmus test. If you are unsure if a friendship is just UDP style, meaning they like you but are slow, or if it is actually dead,
What do you do?
stop initiating.
The silent treatment.
No, not the silent treatment. It's passive observation. Stop initiating for 7 to 10 days. Do not send the meme. Do not send the how are you. Just wait.
And do they reach out?
And you see, do they reach out? If the answer is no, no reach out, no support in a crisis, no choosing you, then it is time to execute the stop loss.
That's the hard truth. If you stop rowing the boat, does it just drift away?
If it drifts away, you were the only one rowing. And that's not a generational difference. That's just a one-sided relationship. And no amount of understanding TCP or UDP can fix a one-sided relationship.
Wow. Okay, let's unpack this. We've covered the emotional anatomy, the TCP-UDP structure, the Japanese influence of conflict avoidance, and the financial models of stop loss and tiered investment.
Yeah.
This is a lot, but it feels liberating.
It should.
It feels like I have permission to stop panicking.
The goal is to stop taking structural differences personally. It's not about you.
Here is where it gets really interesting for me. I think about Mickey sitting there looking at the phone.
Mm-hmm.
The anchor sentence I want Mickey and all of you listening to take home is this. My care requires a response to be received. If you can't catch it, we're playing different sports.
That's beautiful. And if I can add the analyst summary to that.
Please.
You aren't losing a friend. You are realizing you were playing TCP on a UDP network. It's about compatibility, not worth. You can value a UDP person, but you cannot expect TCP reliability from them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't go to a hardware store asking for milk. Don't go to a UDP nomad asking for instant emotional validation. You have to know what store you're shopping in.
And that brings us to the end of this deep dive. We hope this helps you navigate those silent spaces in your chat logs a little better.
Before we go, if you enjoyed this cultural decoding, please subscribe to Sip and Talk. We love taking these everyday anxieties and looking at them under the microscope.
And we have a special shout out today. We've been talking about Mickey as a persona this whole time, but Mickey is actually a real person, an old friend of ours who inspired this entire topic with a very long, very panicked rant over coffee last week.
Yes. Real life Mickey, thank you for your neurosis. It fueled this episode. And despite the texting struggles, Mickey makes some hilarious content. You have to check out Mickey's YouTube channel.
Definitely.
It's got everything fun memes and the latest travel vlogs, which are honestly pure escapism.
Mickey might not get a text back instantly, but Mickey knows how to edit a video. Go subscribe.
Absolutely. And remember, as we said at the start, this show is about objective facts and independent thinking.
Yeah.
We aren't here to tell you who to be friends with, just to help you understand the people you already know.
Keep thinking critically.
Thanks for sipping and talking with us. We'll see you next time.